Hello everyone, welcome to another preview video of the Raid on Drvar DLC. As Eugen finally got a voice actor, and we will finally get this DLC that was announced a long while ago, but sadly got stuck in development for a while. But as the last video we did about this, it was a long while ago, I thought I will refresh everyone's mind about what is coming with this DLC. Already did a video about all the patch changes coming. And yeah, now we have a look on the two divisions again. The NOV and Operation Wrestelsprung. Two pretty interesting divisions, really unique. Not sure about the power level yet, but let's have a look at the NOV. As you can see, lots of infantry, not so many tanks, not so much AA, good air taps, and we start with recon as always. As here you get your standard snipers with Kakanos, you get a 4-man recon squad, though these always underperform a bit, and you get 20mm autocannons with a blinder, which is pretty helpful. And then you get the Konchiki Ichwadachi, which are pretty good for Berettas, 2 Berettas for 30 points, good availability as well, 5, 10, 15 for a recon unit, that's really good, and the 2 Molotovs also help out. So, a pretty nice unit in the recon tab already, as it has very good optics as well. And the infantry tab has a lot of mid-level, power level units, starting on top with the Lovchi Tankova, which is your anti-tank squad here, 15 points with the boys. Sadly, the boys is not that great, so I don't really see a point for them in here. 6, 12, 18... It's a nice availability, but not really helpful here. Then, the Bombassi with their special TNT that deals less damage, but you can shoot more of them per minute. They have half the reload time, and I'm not sure if they also get hit by the nerf on aim time. I don't think they do. So they still have the fast throw time, but I'm not 100% sure about this part. Borchi, the classic infantry unit for this, 11 men, 1 MP, 1 LMG, or 1 automatic rifle here in this case. Pretty decentish, have the radar traits, good availability, 12, 24, 32. For 20 points they're not amazing, but they are your meat shield that you get everywhere. The Nichi, oh god, yeah, I'm still not good with pronunciation here, is your Molotov unit with 3 Berettas. They also have some decent CQC firepower. Availability with 9, 18, 27 is also great for a Molotov unit, so they should be pretty helpful. And your commandeer is one of the best leaders in the game. 3, 6, 9 availability, 20 point leader, 12 hit points, and a Piat. So yeah, Piat is not an amazing AT weapon, but it's still a pretty solid one. And 12 hit points for 20 points is quite insane. So, really one of the best leaders in the game, helping you out, keeping your units upweighted on the front line, as it doesn't die too quickly. Your CQC slash, like, a weird unit here, the Corsanti, 9, 18 availability as well, with 4 SMGs, 9 carbines, not really amazing on any range, have the fanatical trait, cost you 20 points as well. As you can see, the name of the game is 20 point units here in this deck. It continues even further down. Only one unit that costs more, only one unit that costs less than 20 points, which is kind of funny. And the next unit is the TNT unit, the Pioneer. 15-man Pioneer squad. But as we learned in the patch video, TNT now has 5 seconds aim time, so it's a bit worse, but it's still good availability here for TNT unit as well, and 15 hit points is really helpful as well for TNT unit. They are disheartened, which though might be an advantage for a TNT versus TNT fight, as you can retreat them earlier at that point, and then they don't take as much damage. The Podroshka are supposed to be your long-range fire support, though 2 brands obviously not that amazing. Decent availability as well, 1 card here. So a lot of choices here. The Proletariat come with the MG34 and UD's as well. Your somewhat better Grenadier Squadron, I guess, as they also have a Panzerfaust. So, a pretty decent unit as well. They have one more man with a SMG compared to Grenadiers. So, 20 points is a fair price for them. And they give you a bit of anti-tank, which you will need in this deck. And then you got two more leaders, a British and an American one. The British one has the Lee Enfield, and the American one has a Browning and some M1 carbines. 8-man leader as well, so pretty tanky actually, also for 25 points, but I don't think you need anything else but commandeers. They are just so amazing. So these two are not really that useful, as you already get a Pierre up here and so on, and the availability is not better. So I would just go with commandeers all the way. Tank tap is obviously not that amazing. The partisans didn't have tank production. They had to use what they could keep alive from the old Yugoslavian army, or what they stole from the X's, like these L6s from the Italians. As 35 old French tanks, now 35 old French tanks. You can only get them in A and B. Availability is also not that amazing. These even only in A. So tank tap really is lackluster. Not where you want to rely on, but I mean they're cheap, so they at least give you some cheap armor support, which can be helpful for sure to help your infantry push through. A bit more armor here, though without penetration, in the form of the L3 MGs, the Italian small 45mm mortar, and then the Par Top, 200-meter range, heavy explosive, kind of a meme unit. 10 kilogram HE, really insane damage, but the 200-meter obviously not that great. So I'm not sure if this is really any use, but if you keep them in an infantry formation, they might actually be helpful. Like in light forest or so, they can actually maybe delete something. 2 hit points only though. Then some direct fire old guns that also have a bit of heat, though 60mm obviously is not a great penetration. Combined with 25 points accuracy, not really what you want to rely on to dealing with real tanks. Maybe can deal with some light armor though. And then you get an MG42 card as well, together with your Breda MG, though the Breda is not that great. Get some commanders here, including a 222, which you might actually want to take and then use as a combat, not sure. And you get Opel Blitz as supplies. Anti-tank, you rely on stolen stuff as well, combined with Solid Thorn for 10 points, which is actually kind of needed here. 40 penetration, Solid Thorn way better than the boys. Anti-tank rifle. Piat Squadron as well for 15 points. And then the small Italian 47mm, and then the German Pak 38 and Pak 40, 1 card each. Especially the Pak 38 is pretty nice as it comes with high availability, though you don't have any APCR shells on this one. Attire, really only 2 options and only 2 slots. Not that great, though the 76mm is at least decent. And the 20mm is the Italian one, which is also okay, but obviously AA is a bit of an issue here in this division. Artillery, you get some Italian howitzers, which are pretty good, and an old Yugoslavian one as well. And then you get some mortars. In the air tap, you get a lot of British support, though some of them only come in later. Both fighters come from early on, but Spitfires and Mustangs... I don't know, the Mustangs come in A, but the Spitfires only come in B and onward. And the Mustangs only have 4 Brownings, so they ain't that great at killing stuff. And bomber-wise, most come in B as well. So you get good availability, as you can see. Baltimore's as well, 4 200 kilogram bombs is pretty amazing. Hurricanes, good availability as well. Good penetration power. 8 100 kilogram bombs. And then, this one you can get an A, and this one is really strong. You get 2 per card with 900 kilogram bombs. Really important unit for this deck. Helps you out early on a lot. So that's the NOV refresher. And let's move over to Operation Russelsprung. So here we are in Operation Russelsprung. Obviously, also work in progress build still. But not much should change anymore. As you can see, it's a pretty recon heavy division. A lot of infantry as well. But you get a couple more tank cards than in the other division. Though 4 less air and a bit less anti-tank as well. Your anti-tank, obviously, Operation Ressourcesprung didn't come with many tanks, as they had to fight partisans and not armored divisions. So let's see what we get here. Let's jump into the recon tab. The recon tab is pretty filled. And one part that makes this pretty nice is the Panzer IIs and the ABs in different forms. You get a lot of 20mm autocannons in this. And that's one of the main themes of this division. The amount of 20mm autocannons you get. Then you get Brandenburger Aufklärers of Sniper and Fallschirmgebirgsfusiliers of Snipers. 9-man and a 6-man squad. One has a G43, the other one has a Kar 98 and an MG26. So pretty decent units as well. And then Brandenburger Aufklärers with MP44s. Chetniks, which are 15-man squadron for 25 points. Pretty decent, though availability is not too great. And they only have 1 MG. And SMGs sadly are stands. Otherwise they would be better. But between all the 20mm autocannons and the snipers, you don't really need them, I don't think. So they're pretty nice. Drvar, another 4 SMG squadron, really don't perform that well. Especially as it tests 2 Berettas, which open up fire earlier than the MP40s. So they reveal themselves earlier. But then they don't really have the damage at 150 meter. So not the biggest fan. And the KFZ that still can't shoot at airplanes, so it's pretty useless as well. In the infantry tab, you get a lot of options as well. Though most of the upper options are not that amazing. But the Dombrani for 15 points. Interesting unit. Together with the Cadet. They get a Beretta, they get an MG26, they get 6-bolt action rifles. And a Beretta and an MG26 for a 15-point unit is already pretty nice for this hardened unit. The Cadetten, a bit stronger in CQC, as you can see. G43 also help out both in CQC and a bit on the mid-range, but a bit of an interesting unit as well. Fanatical trait, 9-18 availability. Here it's 9-15-27, which is weird. I guess this will still need to be fixed. Grenadier, Panzerfaust. As I said, work in progress build. Classic Grenadiers with Panzerfaust. With standard availability. Croatian Legionnaires, 9-18-27. Basically Grenadiers as well, just with different uniforms. Croatian Legionnaire leader. Decent, 4 MPs. And a smoke, 20-point leader. 369 availability. Pretty solid. And then a smoke and TNT squadron. The SS Fallschirmjäger for 20 points. 20 points TNT, already great. The 6-9 availability, also good for TNT. And the smoke helps out getting them closer. So, a pretty powerful unit, I would say, for 20 points. We'll see how they will perform. SS Gebirgsjäger. Bit of a better form of the Grenadier, maybe, though they have the MG26, so they're basically the exact same as the baseline infantry of the partisans, but with an anti-tank grenade, helping them out a slight bit against armored vehicles. And then the Ostache, having 2 Berettas, 12-man squadron. The Beretta is weaker than the MG26, I'm pretty sure. It's not a great rifle, but the Berettas really help out. So, an interesting unit here as well. Also having the weird 9-15-27 availability. Not 100% sure what this is all about. But as I said, should be still up to fix. Kosaken Pioneer, 8-man, 25-point TNT squadron. Compared to the Sturmjägers, to the Stoßjägers, maybe not that great. DP28 doesn't really help you that much in this formation. The PPSH is better than the MP40, but you get way less and you don't get smoke. And then you also pay 25 points, so not an amazing unit, especially with the 8 hit points. If it would have 10 hit points, I would consider it, but with 8 hit points, it's not that great. And you also get a 25-point Pioneer in form of the Croatian Pioneers with TNT and an MG34, which is just outright better. So the only Difference maybe is the CQC damage output, but the 2 extra hit points help out a lot. The better LMG helps out a lot. So I'd rather take the Croatian Pioneers and then the Stoßjägers. I would take 2 of them. Then SS Fallschirmjägerführer, pretty good leader as well. 25 points, 3 availability, smoke, 6 men. Good weapons as well. SS Gebirgsstreife, pretty good unit, 12 hit points, 25 points. G43s help out a lot. MG34 is pretty decent as well. So yeah, good middle of the road, though the availability is a bit lackluster as you have to take them at Veteran C. But I mean, yeah, 612 is not that bad actually. And G43 help out here a lot. Also can deal with some normal, like basic line infantry in CQC, as they have 3 MPs compared to other units, and together with the G43, they should be able to deal with something like Grenadiers or so pretty well in CQC. So interesting solid unit here as well. And then we come to the Brandenburger stuff. Brandenburger Führer, 30 points, not that great availability. You get MP44s, but you don't really need them. So I'm not a big fan here. Brandenburger double flamethrower pioneers with smoke, 30 points. Solid availability here. Yeah, 8-man double flamer. Good squad. If you want to have a double flamer squad, this for sure gives you everything you need from it. MP40 is obviously not that amazing, but still decent. The double flamer already gives you a lot of damage. Then the classic Brandenburgers, always great. And you get 3 cards of them, so you can really like take 1A, 1 and B, 1 and C if you want, or if you play Maverick, maybe 2 and A, 1 and B, and really give the enemy hell. But obviously, you're not having an insane amount of infantry slots, so you have to be careful. If you want to really take all 3, you might run out of infantry. And then a somewhat similar squad, the SS Fallschirmjäger, as both here have TNT, but you can take them without veterancy, and then they come with way better availability. Though, as you can see, weapon loadout nearly the same, price the same. It's Fanatic versus and Raider versus only Raider on the Brandenburger. But G43 versus Carbine. So, the Brandenburger for sure are better. The Carbine is... Carbina 98 is for sure inferior to the G43. But if you want to have more availability, the SS Fallschirmjäger has you covered in A. Like you could do this, and then maybe take these in B, and then you have a lot of good damage output, long range plus TNT units in your deck. And then the SS Gebirgsführer, which is a 12-man point, decent availability, like good availability leader with a sniper and an anti-tank rifle. It's a bad anti-tank rifle, the Granatbüchse 39, but the sniper already plus 12 hit points is nice. So maybe a leader you want to take at 30 points, though 30 points obviously always is a bit expensive for a leader, but this one also comes with a lot of good hit points. Tank tap, you get similar to the Partisans. You get some Italian tanks, some L6s, and some French tanks. So nothing heavy here either, but you get a bit more of them, which is pretty helpful. And together with the Recon 20mm, you really have a lot of light armor that you can just overrun divisions with. AT issues, especially against like cost-efficient AT stuff, you can really overrun with this. Support tab, pretty standard. You get a Schwalos, you get this ZB53, you get an MG34, MG42. But you get also LG42s, which is always a nice card to see. Other than that, you get cubicle ammunition, which are also pretty nice. Feldgendarmerie, not really helpful in this one. And an L3 as well, if you want one. Anti-tank, get Pak 38 and Pak 40. And then the Semoventum, which can be pretty helpful. And the Panzerschreck obviously also can come in handy. Pak 36 I'm not the biggest fan of, though the availability at least is pretty decent. But the 1000 meter range is a bit of an issue. Sorry. AA is Black Feelings, which got buffed, and 20mm, so should be okay-ish now. The drilling is still pretty horrible. Everything below 20mm is still not that great. Something that you might want to look at in the future, splitting them up in the bullets between air and ground bullets as well. Because if they buff them too much against air, they will just delete ground. And so you kind of need to give them the same treatment as bigger AA. And then artillery. You get the best artillery piece in the game for the Germans, the K35T, a Czech 105mm. Really cost efficient and really good rate of fire with 8, good damage output on a 105mm. And then you get Gebirgshaubiten, which are not that great, but the cheap one at least is pretty spammable. The smoke also pretty helpful. And the classic mortar. Air has some cool things in it, including some new units, like the Blenheim Recon or the Axis, the Cluster Biplane, and the Libeccio, 100 kilogram bomb recon plane, though the bad resilience is a bit of an issue. If we would have medium resilience, it would be quite nice, though it helps out here as well. Those bombers are pretty nice. J87 G1 and J87 D3 help you out with the A-team. You can choose wildly, and then you can get a lot of good fighters. The C205 is great. The C202 is decent. Good speed, but the damage output not that great. But you also get a really fun fighter, the IK2, which is really cheap and has a 20mm Hispano. So if it can get behind enemy fighters, it can shoot them down. The agility is insane, though obviously the speed is not that great. But if you mix them in with other fighters, you can really do some damage. You also get some G50s and some old French MS-406. So a good mix here of planes, a pretty unique one as well. And this should be pretty interesting. Looking forward to both divisions. I hope you do too, especially with all the other patches as well, like the income patches and so on. As I said, I made a full video about all the other patch changes that are coming as well. And with that said, I hope to see you in the next one. And if you want to see more videos about Steel Division and Wano, consider subscribing so you get informed when we upload another one. So with that, see you next time. Bye bye.